It's a day of celebration. I got Final Fantasy X shot. I'm going to start editing that soon. It's my birthday, and I'm deathly ill. It's always great being sick over the holidays. But I figured I would, in the meantime, talk about Deadliest character, which is something I'm surprised I haven't gotten to before. This episode is probably the longest. It's spent the most time in production of any of my videos. It actually kind of became a running joke, even around my house, where this thing was going on for about a year, maybe even more than a year. I mentioned it offhand in a vlog. I wanted to do something like this, and that I was working on it, and it took forever. And for a lot of reasons. This one really took a village to do, so to speak, because I had to get Linkar to do his thing, and I had to get the animation. And the animation is probably what took the longest. Justin Duarte did an amazing job, and believe me, I am not complaining about how long it took him to do this, because he basically hand animated every single frame of that fight himself, which is a colossal amount of work. I am deeply impressed and deeply grateful that he was able to do this for basically no compensation. I really hope you check his site out, because he deserves all the praise I can give him and more. He did a really great job. And James Rolfe, who I am also very grateful. I actually have his contact information. People keep saying you should propose more ideas to him. I never like to bother James, because if he's anywhere near as busy as me, he is absurdly, absurdly busy and has no time for this. But I kind of shook his tree this time, and he was very gracious in not only recording, my kind of weird script, because I don't think he really knows me at all. I'm sure he's familiar with that I exist, but the fact that he was willing to do this and shoot in a special location in his basement, I believe, and kind of wear a costume and play a little character is really amazing. He actually said, I said, do you want to be credited as James Roll for the nerd? He's like, no, I can't do that. Just make a name for me and make it really offensive, like Dr. Fuckface or something like that. And I was like, really? He's like, yeah, Dr. Fuckface or something. I don't know what. And so I go, I don't want to call you Dr. Fuckface, but I came up with something kind of goofy that way. But anyway, yeah, it was really just it was funny, because I actually was expecting James not to do this at all, and the reason I chose him was because he did the Cinemassacre's Monster Madness. He basically reviewed every Godzilla movie in a little capsule format, which was kind of amazing. But the animation took a really long time, and it's the reason that there's a couple reasons why you probably won't see any more Deadliest character episodes. One is because after the animation was done, Justin told me, he's like, look, I love doing this, but this was so much work, there's no chance I could possibly do this again. And I was like, I understand completely. And so the two things are, one is, until I can find another animator who can do something remotely on par with the amazing animation I got in this one, I don't think it's going to happen, because I am not capable of doing this. The other reason is, basically on the same day that I released this, or maybe even like a couple days after, Screw Attack did a video called Death Battle, which I believe was produced by Metal Gear Ben, I think it was. I haven't seen it, and I've heard it's not all that great, but I admit to being a little biased on that score and a little suspicious. I don't know. Something like Death Battle would have taken a lot longer than them seeing my video and going, oh, we could rip this off. Because if it was like mine took a year and a half, so I'm just guessing great minds think alike, and we released those two things at the same time. Not a big deal, but that's another reason I probably won't do anything like this, just because I don't want to avoid. I want to avoid the inevitable comparisons between me and Screw Attack, and so. If there's people who are like, I'm jealous or something like that, you know what? They can have it. I don't think this idea had very far to go anyway, especially with the, what really holds this one back is the Deadliest Warrior format, where we compare weapons between the two. And so, like, when you're talking various famous characters, like if we're doing, Sherlock Holmes versus the Predator or something like that. There's really not that many weapons to compare. The Predator has a lot of weapons, but Sherlock Holmes or something like that, you'd have to find characters who actually have a great deal of weapons, and so I would really have to alter the format, and I really don't think it has much. I think the main attraction is the animation, which, again, the animation would really be iconic of the series, and I don't think I could pull that off again. Likewise, another thing that I did for this episode was, since I figured this was going to be a relatively short episode, and I'd been looking for editors to help kind of alleviate my workload, kind of basically cut my production turnaround time by a third. I was looking for local editors who could come over, collect footage, and help me do this thing. So this was kind of their test. I sent the main project files out, and did my best to explain the entire scenario, and each of the editors, there were two that really turned around a finished product, and they were both good in their own ways, and they both had issues that really needed correcting. So one in particular followed the script much more closely, and another did a lot better visual effects and various editing with the special effects. And so what happened was I ended up editing together the two reviews, taking the best parts of each and kind of slapping them together. And if this video looks a little Frankensteined, that's why. I'm not entirely happy with this video's finished product, but this was mainly because I was trying to get it out by the donation drive, and it's my fault. Believe me, it's my fault. If there's volume issues, especially in the battle scenes with the Power Rangers, that's why. The volume's a little inconsistent, but I still think this episode works. So, as for the two people who did the videos, I actually have made my decision on who will be helping me on the videos, but they both did an excellent job. And in fact, I think we've really found out what their strengths are on both sides. So I will actually probably be using both people for different things, but I'm very grateful for their help. But I'm also very proud of the fact that when I mentioned the problems that I had with their various videos, nothing major, it was like just various volume issues, various editing issues, just little things that, mistakes I used to make when I started off this thing, just making the episode a little punchier. I actually said in my email, I hate to complain, but I figured if you want to know what you did well and what you did wrong, so I sent emails explaining both, and they were both very gracious and took the notes well, and in fact went above and beyond the call of duty and basically fixed the video for me and sent me new renditions of the video. So I have two great very different versions of this show that both interpreted my script in different ways, but still came out very good. So this is kind of the best version of both. But yeah, this animation is really amazing, and actually what I was most impressed with one of them is one of them cut together the fight with a lot better music balance, but the other one sprinkled in a bunch of footage from the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. So especially the setup, the fact where Mechagodzilla is smashing the town and the Power Rangers mobilize. I really loved that, and I really loved watching the reactions on Twitter and in the chat room during the donation drive. That was what I basically came for, was to watch the live reactions. And everyone was howling bullshit about this episode, which was perfect. This is exactly what I wanted to provoke, because it's the exact same reactions that the Deadliest Warrior provoked from me, because that show is complete bullshit. The testing is inaccurate. There's no actual science going on, and the simulations more often than not either go against the findings that they had, or they introduce some new element that was never tested in the first place. And so usually the winner is controversial, the testing is controversial, everything about it is gravely arguable. And so that's what I wanted to do for this one. And so never let it be said that I come into this with a bias, because although I do, I don't let it influence my decision making, because really, in a fair fight, Mechagodzilla is actually much, much larger than the Megazord, for one thing. And that's the animation. I had him kind of level it out so it looked like a fight, but that was an intentional inaccuracy. But Mechagodzilla would wipe the floor with the Megazord, really. Even the early version would. And so what I wanted to do was really, the Power Rangers should win this fight, just because it's really a better story. And the fact the introduction of the Dragon Zord and Tommy the Green Ranger is something that would plausibly happen in a Power Ranger show, where they always had, another robot just around the corner that could come in and help them, or Ninjor or Titanus or something like that. The Power Rangers kind of rolled that way. They always had some secret doomsday weapon that they could bust out and defeat this thing that was kicking their ass. And so that's how the Power Rangers roll. And for the people who said this was grave cheating, I do say at the beginning of this show that there's no rules in the whole Deadliest Deadliest character thing. And besides that, this is a simulation by Insano Technologies. So, of course, this is going to be kind of nuts. If I have one complaint against the animation is that the ending is a little anticlimactic. I was kind of expecting an explosion instead of Mechagodzilla just very forlornly slumping down to the ground. Just, oh. But hey, I actually think it works in its own way, where Mechagodzilla just looks at this gaping hole in his chest and goes, oh. Oh, and for anyone wondering, I didn't make any of that stuff up from the Mechagodzilla movies. Mechagodzilla really was made by space monkeys. They're monkeys who have human disguises, and in the movies they mention that Mechagodzilla is made of space titanium. It's titanium, but space, and they come from the black hole. So all of that was entirely true. I've also got the Daleks are pretty much the overwhelming favorite here, although I think the Daleks are getting short shrift. I think people are really underestimating the Borg in this one. Anyway, we're wrapping up, so I'm not really sure when or if we're going to see another Deadliest character. I hope we do. I hope I find another animator. But in the meantime, thanks for watching. Thanks for getting so fired up about it. This is the exact kind of reaction I wanted from everybody. I wanted this to be a real fan debate where people can argue, have really good-natured arguments. So, until next time, thank you to Lewis, thank you to James, thank you to Justin Duarte, check out his website, and thank you to the editors who worked so hard to get this final project done, and thank you everybody for donating at the Ronald McDonald House charity and raising about, I think it was around $50,000 for children this holiday season. It was great to be part of that, and it was great to watch such overwhelming generosity, and it was great to see that I can use my powers for good sometimes. So, I'll see you next time at Final Fantasy X, the finale, and have a Happy New Year, everybody.